Today I'm going to show you how to make Italian focaccia, and it's super easy. Let's get started. Alright, we've got our ingredients all measured out. We've got 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of warm water, a tablespoon of fine sea salt, and about 1.5 tablespoons of instant yeast. We're just going to mix our dry ingredients together first. And you can do that with this instant yeast. You can just put the yeast right in with your flour and your salt. And you don't have to proof it in water first. So just get in there and mix that up by hand so that the salt and the yeast are distributed evenly. And then we're going to add our water. We just mix that up by hand. You just want to mix until all the dry flour is incorporated. You don't need to knead this dough, which is what makes this recipe so simple. You can see it's pretty sticky here. It's my hands, but just keep working it for a minute or so. Trying to scrape the dry flour off the bottom of the bucket and the edges. When it's done, it should look like that. Now we're just going to put a lid on this and let it sit until it's doubled or tripled in size. Tripled is probably better. Okay, we're back. It's about 5 hours later and the dough has risen nicely. Should look something like that. And now we're going to shape it into a ball and let it get ready for the second rise. We're going to start by flouring our work surface here. And you can just grab some flour with your hand and toss it out here. This is just so it doesn't stick to the counter too much. Then take our dough. Put a little more flour on both of your hands, sort of dust it around, and pick the dough up, stretch it away from you, like that. Turn it and do the same thing. Then we're going to turn it over and just put it on a floured surface here. Keep that flour going. And we're just going to lightly, loosely shape it into a ball by sort of cupping underneath it and spinning it. And we're not really kneading the dough, we're just getting the shape together. This is pretty sticky, so I keep flouring out my hands to keep it from sticking, and use, as much flour as you need without going overboard. And that's all it needs. We're now going to put our dough onto an oiled pan here. I'm just going to do a little spray oil. This is about enough dough to make 2 smaller focaccias or 1 large one, and we're just going to do the 1 large one here, and it's probably going to end up being pretty thick. Now I'm just oiling the top a bit. We're going to cover this with saran wrap and let it sit for about another hour or hour and a half or 2 hours, depends on how warm your kitchen is. And it's going to rise again, and then we're going to shape it and top it. Alright, we're back. It's a couple hours later and you can see our focaccia has risen again. And we're now ready to stretch it out and put toppings on it and stick it in the oven. So I'm going to take this saran wrap off. You can see how big an area this is. We're going to put some extra virgin olive oil on top of this. And then just with our hands sort of spread that around. And then we're just going to try and fill this pan here. We're gonna stretch it out. You push from the middle first and then go out to the sides. You want to be kind of gentle with this. You don't want to push all the air out of the dough because you want it to be nice and airy. But you know, you can just sort of push and get it there. And of course, none of this needs to be perfect. It's going to come out looking pretty good no matter what you do. Now we're going to dimple it. And the dimpling is going to create nice little pockets that are going to fill up with olive oil, which we're going to put more on here. Now we're going to put our rosemary on, and this is fresh rosemary. You can use dried rosemary if you have it. And we're going to put some salt on top of this. Now it's ready to go into the oven. Alright, we got our oven preheated to 500 degrees. We're going to set a timer for about 12 minutes and stick the focaccia in. Alright, our timer just went off at 12 minutes, so we're going to check to see how this focaccia is doing. Yeah, I think that could be just a little bit darker. I'm going to set the timer for 3 more minutes. Alright, we're ready to pull this out of the oven for good now. Oh my God, that is beautiful. We're going to let that cool for a few minutes before we cut into it. Alright, I can't wait any longer, so we're just going to cut into this. Alright, take a look at that. Nice big holes, airy crumb. And that's how you get the gig.